I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581.
Attention all business owners and creative minds. Do you need a unique and personalized touch for your products? Look no further than Romika Laser Engraving and Custom Designs. I'm Ron Phillips, co-owner of Romika Designs. We offer custom laser engraving services for a variety of products, including promotional items and corporate or personal gifts. With state-of-the-art equipment and a team of skilled designers, we can engrave intricate designs on virtually any material. Whether it's a special message, a company logo, or a custom design, Romika Laser Engraving will help you make your mark. And the best part, our prices are affordable and our turnaround time is quick.
I couldn't be happier with the work Romika Laser Engraving did for me. The engraving on my product was precise and exactly what I wanted.
So don't wait any longer to add a personal touch to your products. Call Romika Laser Engraving and Custom Designs today at 817-400-4040 or visit our website at romikadesigns.com. We look forward to helping you make your mark.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
Hey, travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
855-325-1820. 855-325-1820. That's 855-325-1820.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
The voice of Johnson County, JoCo Community Radio.
Johnson County, welcome to the JoCo Voice. I am your host, Mike Wilshire. It is January 22nd of 2024. I know that for a fact because today is my 50th birthday.
Happy birthday.
I mean, man, golly, 50 years, right? That's 5 decades.
That's a long time.
That's a half a century, right?
Were you sad?
I was.
When the dinosaurs passed?
Right. And people ask me, when you went into the service, did you go in for the North or the South? I always ask my dad that, giving him a hard time. I got Keith Fromm in the studio with me with Custom Sheds by Keith. Say, hey, Keith.
Mike, how you doing tonight?
I am doing well. It's a cold, miserable, wet day, but what a better day to celebrate 50 years.
There
right?
you go.
You know, I wanted it to be miserable on my 50th
Well,
birthday. I
well,
didn't
then
want to.
you succeeded.
Right. And I was born in January, so it's never going to be nice, right? It's never going to be nice. All right, Johnson County, we got to run through I call it the blotter. I mean, they call it the shift reports. And guys, I got to tell you, I look at the Johnson County Sheriff's website, and there's this stuff about domestic violence, and they're saying, you know, you don't have to be a victim of it. You don't have to put up with this. You can call this number. You can get help. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, in 2024, why do we have that announcement? Why am I still seeing billboards that say something along the lines of, you know, hey, you can't hit your wife? I mean, like stuff like that. I did not know that was still a trend, but apparently after you read this blotter, you can tell that in Johnson County, we still like to throw knuckles. Apparently that's something people enjoy doing. Caller stated that roommate's boyfriend is refusing to leave. The roommate and the boyfriend have been arguing back and forth. Stated that the roommates in the bedroom could hear people shoving each other back and forth. Deputy arrived. Everybody had calmed down. Deputy cleared with a report. Really? You know, in all the fights I've ever been in with a woman, I don't remember any shoving. I don't remember ever getting into you think you and the wife would ever get into a shoving match, Keith?
I am smarter than that.
Right. I want to live. I want to live. You know, they have their own channel, Snapped and Discovery ID.
Right.
Right. It's How to Kill My Husband and Get Away with It.
Well,
you know?
my wife watches a lot of the, whodunits and How to Get Away with Murder and stuff like that.
Right.
So I have absolutely no doubt that she could kill me without me even knowing it.
Do you ever sit through one of them shows and at some point in time you hit pause and look at her and go, we're good, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're good. I didn't do anything, right?
Let me preface all this by saying, sweetheart, I love you very, very
Right,
much.
right.
Mike's making me say anything that I shouldn't be saying.
No, I'm not telling him to say anything. I don't want to get killed either. We love you, honey. We love you. All right. So caller filled out a fraud packet. Somebody had stole money. Yeah, that's nothing. A hit and run crash. Caller stated that a truck. Okay, this has happened to me. Caller stated that a truck just backed into him, and it was a Ford dually, and he took off towards Mansfield. Caller stated that the truck passed him, and like somewhere or another they had made contact, and the truck said he was going to the ER, and that's why he couldn't stop. And the caller wanted to make a report. Okay, I had that happen to me whenever I was like a young driver, like 18, 17 or something. Someone sideswiped the car, and I guess the lady was in labor or something.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And I'm like, my parents are not going to believe this.
Well, first question is did they have cars back then, Mike?
I know, right? It was a horse and cart.
All right. No more
joke?
bad jokes like that. I'm sorry.
Did they have? So you're saying you had a car, huh? In 1925, you actually had a car, huh? That's awesome. No, I wasn't 16 and 25. That's for sure. Let's see another one. Animal bite. 4-year-old was bit on her nostril by the family dog. Mother and owner of the dog already taking the daughter to the emergency room. Deputy cleared with a report. I'm amazed they called the cops for that one, because I can tell you right now, whenever I was a kid, dogs bit us all the time. Everyone had a mean dog. You didn't touch anyone's. My Aunt Judy had the meanest Chihuahua you ever saw in your life.
I don't think I've ever seen a Chihuahua that
wasn't
going to bite you.
Right. It's pretty much just waiting for you to touch it.
Sure.
Like it's like, wait for it now.
Now, at the same time, I can say that I have had a Chihuahua in the past, and if it's your dog, they're good dogs.
Sure. And hearts go out to the caller that called in, and she said she went to check on her dad, found him non-responsive. The deputy and a sergeant responded. The medical examiner made the scene, and the body was pronounced dead. And sad, we hate that.
Absolutely.
We hate that happens. My heart goes out to you. Okay, let's get to some of the fun stuff. Here, Keith, we got business for you. County Road 8805A. Deputy assisted in a structure fire. The shed was fully engulfed. Deputy cleared with a report.
You got the name and address of that.
I know, right? But hey, on County Road 805A, you get a 10% off if you mention Mike Wilshire's name at Custom Sheds by Keith.
Absolutely.
Tell Shannon that Mike sent you.
That's right. It's actually, we are offering 10% off right now. So
see, So
there
can
you
they
go.
get 10 on the 10? I mean, like, how does that work? I know one time I went to buy something and they were like, well, you're a veteran. And I'm like, yeah, well, you get 10% off. Well, you're this, or you're an Aquarius, you were born in January, you get 10%.
That's right.
It was like a bunch of things just kept dropping off. And I was like, wait, hold on. Let me go chop my finger off. And maybe if I'm disabled that way, you guys can do some stuff. Another fire on a goat shelter. Corporal cleared with no report.
How do you get a fire on a goat shelter?
I don't know. I mean, apparently there was an animal complaint too that the complainant advised the neighbor's pit bulls attacked and killed killed the complainant's goats. And man, it has been a hard month on goats, hadn't it?
And sheds.
People are burning their sheds down and dogs are attacking them. It's like somewhere in the goat bar, they're all having a conversation going, look, guys, it's a conspiracy. Everybody's after us.
Man.
Maybe we should stop bucking the people whenever they come by, stop headbutting them every time they come by because they're getting mad. And that's on more than one. They said the neighborhood's dog killed 19 of the caller's chickens. Deputy cleared the report. I think that was 19 opportunities to shoot a dog. I know that someone I know, a dog killed one of his chickens and he shot the dog, but it was his own dog. You know what I mean? Says a male. Oh, this is some good stuff. This is the chunkla. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to remember the chunkla. Male advised subject has a saw in a hand and is busting up a window. 15-year-old male threw a tantrum and busted a small window. Okay. That's whenever you invest in my mom and dad. My mom had one of those. I think it was a spatula. We called it the instrument of death. It was, I don't know. I mean,
my version was the wooden spoon.
The wooden spoon, right? I can remember many long items because we were trying, as we got faster.
Or the fly swatter.
Right. The fly swatter. The items got longer, but my mom's accuracy got much, much better.
Right.
She could catch it with the fly swatter. She had no problems with it. Deputy responded, change was driving in reference to a structure fire that is fully engulfed. Homeowners did request that the Red Cross help. You know, hearts go out to you guys. Send us a link in there. If you've got like a GoFundMe or something, let us know. Deputies responded to Spring Ranch Road in reference to a male stating his spouse wasn't letting him talk to his 3-year-old son. Female called in as well, saying the male had been drinking whiskey. I bet he left that out of the 911 call, right? And had bashed in the door. I am drunk. I've bashed in the door and I want to talk to my 3-year-old. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get
right.
You're not going to get a good conversation out of anyone, right? She said he had threatened to choke her out. So she relocated to a safe place and deputies made contact with both parties. You got to love it, man. I don't know how these people do it. I don't understand it. Let's move on to a happier topic. Hilltop Barn. You and I went there.
We had a great time.
January the 9th. It was frigid freaking cold.
It was freaking cold.
9 degrees, I think. I don't remember.
I think I saw 8.
8? Oh, my God.
And with a wind chill of -5.
Right.
I mean, it was windy.
And so let me set the scene up for everyone who's never been in the Hilltop Barn. It is a barn.
It's a barn.
I mean, it is an open field. It looks like when you pulled up to it, you're like, is this where I'm supposed to be? This looks like someone's property.
Right. I didn't want to get shot by just pulling on there.
It's like, well, it says Hilltop Barn. And your shed just barely fits underneath.
We barely made it underneath that arch.
I was like, whoa, that is, and you went slow to do it.
I don't know if you noticed, I was actually standing on my running board watching Big Blue come underneath it.
I was watching it from the back and I had you on my phone and was going to call you as soon as I saw it. But I mean, like it was clearing. So I didn't actually hit the button. But so we did that, freezing cold. We had
but it was warm in Big Blue.
Yes. Big Blue was warm, comfortable. Got 2 great interviews out of Chris Crawford and what was his name? Greg Duran. Great comedians, funny guys.
Had a great time.
You know, and I gotta say, for anyone who wants to see a comedy act, these guys did a performance like they were doing it for.
Oh yeah, they were doing a show for 1,000-person room.
Oh yeah,
I mean, and it was great.
Yeah, fun. You know, and like anything, if you don't laugh, then it was because you didn't find it funny, but somebody else in the room's laughing.
Right.
So it was a good show. I mean, I enjoyed listening to it. And then Jason Jokes, what did he do?
So I don't know how he did it, but about about 3 hours before the show, he ripped his Achilles.
Yeah.
And
so he's up there with a boot the size of
but
Texas.
the show must go on.
Right. His
Eh,
wife's up there playing the violin.
Yep.
He's up there,
He
she's
hobbled
playing the
in.
fiddle. He's playing the guitar. And the show must go on. Trinity King got up there and sang. I had a good time, and it's a BYOB right now. They haven't got their liquor license yet. They haven't got, so they don't sell anything but the setups,
Right.
and it's bring your own booze type of thing.
It's a great venue.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. And I thought the acoustics in there were really great for being a barn.
Right.
But sounded great. They've got things set up really good.
Nice and toasty.
Yeah.
I mean, we were warm inside there. We were warm inside
Yeah.
Big Blue. And then if you had to go to the bathroom, you almost died.
Well,
That was-
getting to the bathroom.
Yeah,
Now they had that bathroom about 80 degrees, and it was
Right.
great.
Right. You go into that bathroom and you're like, oh, this is warm. Oh, this feels good, And anytime I walked to the cold bathroom, we lived in one of those houses that used to have the space heaters in the walls.
Oh, yeah.
you know? And my mom would be like, go
With
light
an open flame.
Right. Go light that space heater so that I can go use the bathroom. Oh, and while you're in there, go sit on that toilet and get it warmed up for me. We didn't have a remote control, so we were
Right.
back in the day, we were the remote control, the toilet seat heater.
There you go.
The what is it, the aerial adjuster,
Right.
going out there and turning the antenna to get a better signal.
We were the TV remote
right.
to change the channel.
I know, right? Well, so you're saying you had a TV, huh?
Yeah.
You didn't have the old tubed radio, right? I remember. Do you remember the tubes that
Yeah.
went in the old televisions and radios and all that stuff?
So way, way, way back in the day,
Mhm.
for a brief time, I actually worked, if you remember, Eckerd Drugs.
Mhm.
Eckerd Drugs actually had a cabinet
Right.
that had they sold tubes,
And it had
and you had the tube tester on
yeah.
the top.
Okay, so my experience with that was now I'm born in '74. Those would already started to go away,
Right.
and I mean, but we had that big, huge television.
Oh yeah.
in our house. But
Big as a
wanna say
dresser.
it was like my grandmother or my aunt or somebody had one of the old ones that took a tube,
Right.
and the tube went out. So we had to go. They called around and found somebody that still had one of the tube testers.
Right.
And we went over, told him the part number and everything. And he said, well, I have to order it. It'll be here in a day or two. And so we went over there and got that tube. And I thought we were about to play pinball or something. I was like 5 or 6 years old. And I'm like, wow, we're going to play pinball. And they turned it on and it lit up. And they're like, isn't that cool? And I'm like, yeah, it's a light bulb. Can we play pinball now?
Right.
And then they took us, back over and plugged that tube into her television and got it fired. I mean, everything had to warm up.
Yep.
I think the only thing
I tried. It used to take a couple minutes for
Yeah.
the TV to really
Oh,
warm
yeah.
up to get a
Yeah.
good picture.
Yeah, you had to get it turned on before Carson came
That's
on,
right.
Or
That's
else you're
right.
gonna miss, you're gonna miss the big butt baboons that
That's
he was
right.
having on for the night kind of thing. So we did the July 9th. That was Jason Jobs, Chris Crawford, Greg Duran, and we've got another one coming up February 10th.
February 10th.
at the
Yeah.
Hilltop Barn. And I don't have the names to plug it. Cynthia, if you're listening, jump in there and plug everything. I know she's put out something
Yeah,
already.
she's
a
put
flyer.
out. I'll look it up here in just a
Yeah,
moment.
yeah. I know she's got something going on for us.
But
And
so we'll have Big Blue out. And so just to remind people, if you don't mind, Big Blue is Custom Sheds by Keith, mobile design studio and showroom. So
right.
basically it's a tiny house. It's an 8x16 tiny house that we've set up to be a showroom for Custom Sheds by Keith, but we're also doing a lot of live broadcasts from Big Blue. So
Right. And the thing I want to point out about Big Blue is you set that thing up. It was freezing cold.
Yep.
And before I got 3 bags of equipment in there, before we even had the table set, it was warm.
yeah, oh, absolutely.
That thing is amazing.
Well,
And-
so yes, it will warm it up pretty quickly, but I had also driven it with the generator running. So
Oh, you had?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, so
okay.
it had an hour's worth of heat going
man,
already.
You spoiled it for me. I thought,
But I will tell you, over the summer when we had some of those 105, 106-degree days,
Mhm.
I'd turn the air conditioner on and I'd have that thing down to about 75 degrees in about 10 minutes.
And that's something else.
I mean,
man.
it was great.
Yeah. When you go from 105, 114 outside,
Yeah,
and walk in there and actually you don't want to get it too cold because then you walk in and get sick. I mean, like it's almost too much. but
right.
At the same token, just 20 to I know when we were in the desert that the coolest they could get something was about 30 degrees cooler than what it was outside, or 40 degrees cooler than what it was outside. It was 144 outside.
Wow.
I mean, you were just out there in this 130, 120. I mean, these needles were buried at 140 degrees
Wow.
on the thermometer. And I can remember going into certain places and it was freezing. And this, so we get off the plane in San Diego and we're all going to go out and have a beer. And we're standing in a line outside, and these girls are like half naked, wearing just clothes that are, barely hanging on to them and stuff, and showing a lot of skin. And we're out there shivering. And I'm like, how can y'all do this? It's so cold. And the girl goes, it is 71. We had not been. And I mean, that's 71 is just perfect,
Right.
right? But we were freezing because we had been used to 140 degree, 120 degree days. We're like, you're kidding? Guys are wearing jackets and stuff.
Well, to the other end of that spectrum, I've actually had some employees that grew up in Alaska.
Oh,
And started with me in the wintertime, and they're like,
t-shirts,
t-shirts, yeah,
shorts,
and
t-shirts.
we're bundled up in thermal suits and glove warmers and everything, and they're t-shirts, and they're like, what's your problem? Well, it's 32 degrees. Yeah, it's perfect.
Like, you don't freeze till you're 27.
This is shed building weather.
Right. The guys I work with, there's a guy, I'm gonna send a shout out to Chris, the guy I work with. Apparently the laws of science don't work in where I work, because apparently freezing is 72 degrees to him, and he's always shivering and cold and has to wear an extra jacket.
Right.
Whenever it's 72 down there with the equipment that we work in and all these heated equipment that we have to keep it a little bit cooler for. And I'm like, no, freezing is 32 degrees. It's 0 degrees Celsius. I know it is from school. It's not 72 degrees whenever you start freezing to death.
Right.
All right. So we've got the February 10th coming up, and you've got projects. Tell me about this. So what are you on right now? I know weather's held you up a little bit.
Oh yeah, the rain's held us up. The cold held us up. It's hard to get an air compressor to run
in 9 degrees.
In 9 degrees,
right?
Your airlines freeze up, your guns freeze up, your brake tools. So, and the guys get cold,
right?
So. But right now we're working on the footprint of it is a 26 by 26. It's got a 14 by 26 workshop with a 12 by 12 storage area. And then the other 14 by 12 area is a covered patio overlooking the customer's pickleball courts.
Pickleball?
Yep.
Man.
And
you said courts, plural.
Yeah,
pickleball.
He's got room for 2 courts there.
2 courts for pickleball. Have you ever played pickleball?
I haven't yet. I've been wanting to.
Looks like a heart attack waiting to happen for me.
Well,
I'm gonna try it.
Tennis is a heart attack waiting to happen. I think I could do pickleball.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can do. But apparently it's competitive. Like, you can get some people. I've heard of people getting in knockdown dragouts over pickleball. And then I'm like, maybe you shouldn't be playing those sports,
right?
If you can get into a fight over something like volleyball or pickleball or anything. I've never been into an argument over any game of volleyball or anything.
No,
pretty much you won. If you want to argue over it, you won.
Absolutely.
Are you a golfer? Do you play golf?
I don't play golf.
I never picked it up. Never. I'm better off playing it on a video game.
I've got a theory on golf. If you
What's
like.
that?
So, my theory is anybody can, knock a ball 400 yards down a fairway, but it takes a real pro to be able to get it through the windmill blades.
Yep, miniature golf
there
is
you
rough,
go.
Right?
That's my theory on golf.
Right. I'm never gonna be a golf pro. That's for darn sure.
But after this workshop we're working on, we've got 2 backyard offices coming up, and those, talking about the weather, those are both being built on concrete. Well, can't pour concrete when it's freezing, and then we tried to pour concrete the other day, and the forms were full of water, so it was like a little swimming pool. So now that's got to dry out. So, but we got two backyard offices coming up on concrete, and then pier and beam tiny house. After that,
where's the pier and beam tiny house going?
Weatherford.
Yep. Okay. Pier and beam tiny house. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see photos of that.
Yeah, it's going to be really neat.
And people can see this all on your Facebook page, right?
Facebook page,
Custom Sheds by Keith.
Just Sheds by Keith.
Sheds by Keith.
And then website shedsbykeith.com. Just that simple. We've got pricing, pictures, everything on the website. Just go in there, look around. if we can help you, fill out a quote request form, and Shannon will have you a quote the very same day or next morning.
Mhm.
And like I said, right now we're offering 10% off.
Yeah.
So we've got some projects on the books, but those will get us through spring, and then once spring hits, start booking now, and
Yeah.
we'll get you on the schedule. No money down, just let us get you on the schedule, and we'll go from there.
And to the mentally challenged out there who do not understand, is this still available? The answer is yes, because it's a quote. They are all available. Every single one of them is still available to you.
That's right.
They are in there in the book somewhere. You just call, you get a quote, you get the form filled out, you get a quote. You're not going to be able to say how much in point.
Right.
You've got to actually put some thought into your own building that you're building.
And like I said, we've got pricing on the website.
Right.
You can kind of go in and figure out, your size, what price. Now, again, everything we build is custom on site. We're not building cookie cutter buildings on skids.
Right.
We build at better than house construction quality.
Right.
So this is not a temporary building. This is a structure that's going to last you.
Right. It might still be standing there after the house is gone.
That's right.
There's this old house that my dad, like I guess his father grew up in.
Uh-huh.
And when we would drive out, that house was still standing. It was made like in the 1800s, I guess, or whatever. And that house was still standing out there after all. It might still be up there for all I know, for the way they made stuff.
I owned my very first house I ever owned was in Fort Worth in Riverside.
Mm-hmm.
It was built in 1942, and come to find out, it was built by the Corps of Engineers as housing for officers for Carswell Air Force Base.
Oh, wow.
And I was doing and it had the old windows that had the weights in the walls.
Yeah. But and you could hear them drop down and up.
Hear them drop down and up.
Yeah.
But they were true 2x4s.
Yeah.
In the walls.
Yeah.
They weren't 1.5 by 3.5.
No, they were the 2 inches by 4 inches.
Yep.
Something. A friend of mine, he owns one of those old houses like that. And so I forget what we call it, but it's basically shingles on the side of the house. We call it something else where it's the lapped boards or whatever.
Yeah.
And I forget what it's called, but
dadgummit.
he had to replace all that wood. I mean, it was, 200 years old, however old it was.
Right.
And
they used to use it on the roofs too.
Right. And he had to go and replace all of that. So he couldn't find anyone. He went to a sawmill and showed them what he had. And they were like, oh, yeah, that's called blah, 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 blah. And that's how they did the houses in the Yeah, we can cut all that for you. And so he had to have it all cut. And his house, I mean, you can't light a candle in that house. He won't let the electricity's up to code and everything because, I mean, that house is a tinderbox waiting to go off just because the wood's so old. And they've done everything to treat it and take care of that type of issue, but still, I mean, it's wood. It's gonna
right on the tip of my tongue.
I forget what it's called. It's not latching, is it?
No. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll get it.
We'll get in the commercial break. So.
Because we've actually done it a couple of times just as awnings on some backyard offices and stuff, just to give the aesthetics.
And his house, but if you've ever seen like The Patriot with Mel Gibson, that old house that they're in, when you see those British soldiers walk in with torches into that house, what you don't realize is there's 8 people inside that house, all with fire extinguishers.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all ready because that actually was a real true Victorian old home or whatever.
Oh, yeah. It's a tinderbox.
They were ready for it if it was going to happen. All right. I'm losing my voice. I'm sorry. I'm blabbering away. Come on, Keith. This is your show.
Too much partying today?
Yeah, right. Too much partying. Yeah. 50 years old, you just really throw down whenever you hit the 50th birthday. Right?
We stayed up till 10 o'clock.
Right. Now, I know that whenever I turned 21, that I went into like 3 different places the next day after turning 21 to buy a beer or something, to buy like a wine cooler. I don't know, whatever I went to buy. And I was going in and nobody ID'd me. And it was like, man, I would have got ID'd every day. I mean, like it's my birthday. The 22nd is right now.
Right.
I'm ready to get ID'd. And they, no, nobody did it. It was like a week or 2 later before I'd be like, I've been buying from you for a whole week. Yeah, but you look young today. I don't know why you look young. Well,
Sure.
last week I turned 21.
Now you go around begging people to ID you.
Oh,
Please,
yeah,
please,
yeah.
you sure you don't want to ID me now?
Yeah. We went into this bar one time, and it was me and some friends all my age. And the lady's like, I need to see your ID. And we're like, do you want a kiss? I mean, like, should we pay you with kisses? I mean, because I haven't been ID'd in 25. She's like, it's 100% ID check. We're trying to deal with people who have DWIs or something. I'm like, you can tell it from the ID. How do you know?
Right? Wow,
Oh,
they're
clip
getting
it or
good.
yeah, she's like, they clip it or do something to it. And I was like, okay, I'll take your word for it. I'm never getting one of those to find out how they deal with that. Now a DWI is thousands and thousands of dollars, apparently.
I don't know.
I don't know. Never going to find out.
I'm
right?
not going to find out.
Right. Knock on wood. I don't need to knock on wood. I'm not going to be driving drunk.
Right. Exactly.
That's the easiest thing to ever make sure you don't do, right? Hey, we'll be back in just a minute. Stick around.
Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No, no one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more. 800-240-4587. 800-240-4587. 800-240-4587. That's 800-240-4587.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
You're listening to JoCo Community Radio.
And we're back. This is Mike Wilshire. I'm your host of the JoCo Voice. I've got with me in the studio Keith Fromm from Custom Sheds by Keith. JoCo Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and is live 24/7 on the TuneIn Radio Network. TuneInJoCo.com is the place to find all the ways to listen and watch, and the station app is also available for free on Android and other and Apple devices. Simply search the store, check out our lineup and more, JoCoCommunityRadio.com. This episode and more brought to you by the Next Level Claims, making your insurance work for you. Reach out to your Texas sales rep at 844-TEX-HAIL. That's 844-839-4245. Be sure to dress your arms and more at thetiffy.com. All right, Keith, so you're a carpenter. Pretty good carpenter, expert carpenter. What would you say?
I would say that I've been building custom buildings for 14 years.
14 years. So, I mean, there's a lot you've seen and learned.
Absolutely.
In 14 years. How many times you bang your thumb, you think?
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, it's gotten a little shorter every time I hit it. So
one day it's going to be out of the way.
That's right. One day it'll get out of the way.
One day it'll be good. One day I'll be fine, right? So we were talking about this during the break. And what was it called again?
So shout out to my wife. She sent in our answer
What?
Cedar Shakes.
Cedar Shakes. That's it. Okay. And great for keeping the bugs out. I mean, obviously, cedar's a natural what is it called?
Bug repellent.
Bug repellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're great. Now, one of the things, but like we were saying, it's a tinderbox.
Right.
And
it's fire waiting to happen.
Back in the, I can't remember exactly when, but late 80s, early 90s, insurance companies made it mandatory that they be taken off the house.
Oh, wow.
Once you got a roof, if you needed a roof, if you had a layer of Cedar Shakes underneath composite shingles, they had to come off, period.
Oh, wow. That's something else, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, they were that dangerous. Though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, at the
absolutely.
time, it was a necessity for that day and age.
Well, I think it was an affordable product.
Right.
Of course, way back, that's what you used, but
right.
But it was an affordable product as opposed to a composite construction shingle.
Right. And I mean, obviously that's not something that you do now.
We've done it as accent pieces, on a building, nothing structural and obviously not enough to be a hazard to the building, but just as accent pieces.
Nice. So we had to talk about this in the commercial break too. You don't lose the triangle, huh? You don't let one of the guys throw one at you.
I show up on site with a pencil and a tape measure, and if I need anything else, I just holler at somebody, hey, give me your square.
Yeah, let me have your square. Throw me over here.
I bought myself this beautiful leather tool belt, shoulder straps, had lots of pockets, and I just don't wear it.
Don't ever wear it. Huh? I lose tape measures like you would not believe. I mean, there's a tape measure monster in my life somewhere, and he's running behind me like a little gremlin, just grabbing that tape measure off of me. You could probably go around my property and with a metal detector and find 3 or 4 that have fell off me whenever I'm riding around on the side by side,
right?
Whatever I'm doing, I lose the tape measure all the time. I've seen some really funny of those. I don't know if you do you watch a lot of television? Do you ever watch those building shows?
Yeah, sometimes. No, yeah, sometimes.
One of my favorite shows was 10 Grand in Your Hand, and it was this little Italian guy that kind of looked like to me he always looked like a grown-up Scott Baio.
Okay.
And I forget his name, Joey something or another. And he's this Italian guy, grew up in New York, got the Long Island New Yorker accent. And his thing was he would go around and show you these projects that you're wanting to do. And he would save you $10,000 by looking at your quote.
Okay.
And he would get itemized quotes. And then he would say, okay, see, this you can do yourself. This you can do yourself.
Okay.
And he was like, first of all, demolition, you do yourself.
Right.
Anything demolition, you do yourself. Why would you pay somebody to come in and sling a hammer around?
Well,
he's like, demolition, you do yourself. Now, I agree. If it's plumbing or if it's something that's got gas or electricity running.
Well, but you even have to be careful of structural walls.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, load-bearing wall or something like that.
Load-bearing walls you want to stay away from, but just taking out.
You can take the sheetrock and stuff off.
Yeah, if you're taking sheetrock out or you're taking out cabinetry or something, old cabinets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anything that's held up by jigs or mounts that are up on the wall and stuff like that, you're fine taking those off. But if you've got to go, you want to open a wall up, no, you got to have somebody go up there and look and tell you if something's load bearing. Because even I know whenever I see a load bearing wall, but I'm still nervous that I might miss something, and I'd always, not to mention that code has changed from 1979. Code has changed from 1985, so now you can get yourself in big trouble. Go and start messing with something and don't bring it up to code with anything that you do.
Absolutely.
But I was asking you about stairs. I mean, cutting the stairs. I remember whenever I was a kid and getting those 2x8s or
2x12s.
2x12s that my uncle would come in with, and he would have to do the stairs for us. And I remember him doing it, and he was a master carpenter, could do this stuff. And I mean, I think just every man that was standing around him was just staring at him. Well, because none of us did that. We never cut the stairs, hardly ever. And now they come pre-cut in certain little links,
and small links and stuff.
Small links and stuff.
There's lots of ways to do stairs. Well, I say lots of ways. There's lots of tools available to you now.
Mhm.
You know, you've got carpenters calculators, you've got websites.
Right.
Just go into the website,
Plug it in.
plug your numbers in, and it'll tell you what all your cuts are.
See,
You huh?
that worries me because what happens when all that doesn't work?
Well,
Like when I take you to my property, we'll be lucky if we get phone signal, let alone internet. That I mean, you'd be lucky if the wife can call and go, "Are you boys okay?" You know, kind of thing. That's when I'm out there in the boonies, way out in the middle of nowhere. So I worry about that. I mean, and it's something that I feel. I mean, I don't have sons, so I mean, I didn't. I feel bad because I don't have anyone to teach that to. So I mean, it's perished in my head from whenever I learned it way back when.
well, and it's not that difficult. It's just, in most cases, you've got a 10-inch tread with a 8-inch rise.
Right.
So, but if you're trying to get stairs into a certain area and you need to adjust your tread or adjust your rise to
Mhm.
lengthen or shorten that staircase, then there's you also get a 24-inch carpenter square, put what you call buttons on them, which is just brass clamps you put on
Mhm.
the square, and
Mhm.
just move that up the board to mark
And
your
then cut,
mark
your
that.
cuts. Yeah.
Or a trick I use sometimes is whenever I go into the store to buy my 2x12s,
Uh-huh.
I'll grab one of those pre-cut ones and
And
just
just lay it on it,
draw
draw
it
it
on
right
there.
there while you're they ain't gonna stop you, you know. I got kicked out of a Home Depot one time for cutting wood for people. They like
Well, on their saw.
yeah,
Well,
the
yeah,
guy
you shouldn't do
the
that.
guy put the code in and then he walked away and we were waiting there for like 10 or 15 minutes. And I was like, well, I saw the code, so I wouldn't cut. I'm over there cutting wood, and the manager comes up and is like, "Excuse me, sir." And I was like, "You got to wait your turn." He didn't think I was as funny as I thought I was. So I got to the manager of the Home Depot in Everman Parkway. There's no hard feelings. I was trying to be very comedic and say something silly, but he was like, "No, you're going to have to leave." I'm like, "Well, hold on, let me get my wood and I'll go
Yeah.
pay for it." "No, you're leaving now."
Let me finish this gentleman's cuts.
Right? The guy was like, and the other man that was there was like, "Hey, y'all took off. Y'all left us here. We've been waiting. I've got a whole bunch to do, and I'll get to you in a second, sir." And he kicked me out the store. It's like, you don't need to walk me to the door. I know where it is. I'm going to Lowe's. I'll go get my
Security
stuff.
all four, please. Security all
Right,
four.
right. There's a crazy man. And I don't think I was wearing orange. I don't know why somebody thought I could get away with doing it. I don't know why I thought I could get away with doing it. But yeah, that's how you know you're old, when you've been kicked out of a Home Depot for doing their job.
Right.
That's when you know you're old. Whenever you're old whenever someone walks up to you at the Home Depot and goes, "Sir, can you help me with this?"
Right.
And you know the answer. Then
I
you're like,
can,
"Oh God, I
actually.
am that old." I remember my dad sending me to the parts house when I was a kid, and like we had like a high lower and M&M Auto Parts, and so he's under the truck, greasy, covered in whatever, and he's like, go to the parts store, take that 20 out of my wallet, take that 50 out of my wallet, go to the parts store and tell him you need blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Okay, that's all I need to tell him?" He goes, "Yeah, that's all you need to tell him." And I remember I'd gone and made like 3 trips for him. And I go to the parts store, and this guy, he's like, "Well, is it a V8 or a V6?" And I'm like, "Dude, what do I look like to you? I'm 16 years old. I don't even know what." He goes, "Is it a V8 or a V6?" "It's both. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what a V8 is. I don't know what a V6 is. I know where the spark plugs are." And the guy goes,
Well, how many does it have?
That's what he said. He goes, "How many spark plugs does it have?" And I said, "It's got 8." And he goes, "It's a V8. Okay, cool." But I was so thankful when cordless phones came around. So my mom could take the phone out to my dad and she could hold it up to his ear. Cause I mean, you're just covered in, we didn't have new vehicles. Everything we owned was old.
Right.
And we were always working on something to keep it in tip top shape, doing maintenance or something. So my dad'd be covered in grease. He's like, "It's got a 350 in it. And it's got blah, 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 blah," and the guy's like, asking all these questions. I'm like, "Dude, I'm here for windshield wiper blades. Just give me all of them. And the ones that don't fit, I'll bring back and return," kind of thing. It was over and done with.
Right.
But and I feel for people now whenever I am at places and they're like, "I don't know if I have hard water or soft water. I don't know if we're 220 or 110. I don't know if it's, you're like, I feel for you, but this is how you tell.
It worked. Now it doesn't.
Right.
Help
This
me.
is, it whenever they come in, right? They've got to be, anytime I go into the auto parts store, I can tell you it's something that it went out. It had to have gone out because usually I catch everything early on and preventative maintenance type thing. But
Right.
randomly you're going down the road and all of a sudden your windshield wiper just clunks off and a piece is missing, just drag it across the windshield. You're like,
Yep. In the middle of the rainstorm.
Right. And you have to go in there and you're like, I can't see, man. I could barely drive it like Ace Ventura with my head out the window kind of thing, trying to look.
We actually my wife and I had that happen. I think we were either on the way to or on the way back from Florida, visiting relatives, and we had, and we blew a windshield wiper blade,
Really?
windshield wiper blade.
Wow.
And, so we had to pull into an auto parts store. Of course, I know how to do the old ones back on my 1970s vehicles.
Right.
But
now it's got this little clip.
Now
that
it's got this clip.
And you're like,
I'm standing out there in the rain trying to figure this out. And I go back inside the store and I say, can y'all come and help me do this? I don't know how to do this.
right.
They look at me, they go, oh, he's old. Let's help him.
Yeah. Right.
And so they came out, 2 seconds, clip, doom, done.
Like, hadn't done this since the Model T, huh?
Right.
You're like, Papa's very tired. Help me. I tell my friends though, like if we're like if somebody's blind or deaf or looks really old, like when we need help, I'm like, really ham it up. Be the blindest you've ever been right now. Be the deafest you've ever been. Be the most feeble old man ever because we need help. And if you like, I have the 2020 Tahoe and my battery went dead in that thing. You would not believe the bolts you have to take out. I had to watch a YouTube video on how the battery used to be at the front of the truck, right at the corner.
Exactly.
3 bolts, it was out. That was it. You loosened up the post and there was another bolt off the side that held it and it was out. I think they were all 3/8 inch. And now you have to remove this post in the middle. There's a bar that holds something.
That bar
and you're like, what in God's name did I do? Who is the engineer who designed this? Because I would like to bring him to the station. And for 55 minutes, I just beat him up on camera and everybody watch and enjoy. Anyone who's ever had to change out that battery knows what I'm talking about. You need a college degree to do it now.
Goodness gracious.
Versus the way it used to be.
Yeah.
What was your first vehicle you ever drove?
First vehicle I ever had was when I was 14 years old. I had a 1970 El Camino.
Oh my God.
400 4-barrel chrome side pipes down the side. I was a freshman in high school.
Oh my God.
I didn't pay for lunch for 3 years, and man, I went through a set of tires and 3 rocker arms in 6 months. I had no business having that car.
Oh, my dad
got my very first ticket on on Denton Highway. Going up, I was actually going up to Denton,
right?
And I was doing like 60 and a 40.
Right.
Of course, back then it was just nothing but cows,
right
out there, 2-lane road,
right.
And Keller police officer pulled me over. I was scared. I'd never been pulled over in my life, and I didn't know what to do.
But I bet you the reason why you were doing 60 is because if you'd have known he was there, you'd have slowed way down. And if you thought you could have gone faster, you would have.
Oh yeah.
Back then, them things was made for the back wheels to catch the front. They were fast, low to the ground.
Oh my goodness.
Low to the ground El Camino. My first one was a 71 Ford that my brother owned, and it had I can't even remember what engine it was, like a 360 or whatever, and it was a 3 in the tree, 3-speed.
Yeah.
And then I got a 73 and a half. It was a 74 model, but the reason why it was 73 and a half is they hadn't worked out the kinks on it, so it had a few bugs, minor ones here and there. Ford F100, like camper special.
Yeah.
And it had these big monkey bar mirrors that hung off the side, like you could drag 2 people on either side of the road down the road, like hanging on to the side of an airplane or something.
My dad had a 54 Ford with 3 on the tree and a floor starter.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Good
and this thing, you couldn't drive a straight line with it.
Oh,
I
really?
mean, it was
It had all that
front end.
play.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh yeah. It
you
had
know, it's
it had
just
50 years worth of play in it.
I don't think there's any dialing it back in. I don't know what all you'd have to do to, bring it back. But when you're driving one of them things,
Oh
it is
yeah,
literally like driving a boat or something that's,
it's crazy.
that's a lot. But they were fun to drive.
Oh
They
yeah,
were,
absolutely.
driving was fun whenever we were.
Oh, and you had the wing windows. That was your air conditioning.
Oh,
You turn that
God.
wing window
Don't
enough,
you miss
and
those?
you catch the
I
air.
miss the wing window.
Yeah,
I
255 air conditioning.
Yeah, that's it. That was it. And I had a Volkswagen Beetle, little Volkswagen 74 Bug or whatever, and it had those two little wing windows in it. Oh man, those things were lifesavers in that thing because it get hot in that doggone thing,
Oh
and those
yeah,
windows down didn't do enough. You needed those vents coming into you.
oh yeah, oh man.
You going at 55, it's not that bad. You go in and sitting in traffic, you're like,
Oh,
I'm
it's
killing
terrible.
the engine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Well, of
catch
course,
on.
we didn't have the bad of traffic back then either.
No, not as bad. Not as bad. It's horrible now. You drive down the road, it's like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome here.
Oh, I know.
Whenever you're driving down the road. Okay, so upcoming. What you
Upcoming.
got?
So we were talking about the Hilltop Barn in
Yeah,
Cleveland,
February 10th.
February 10th.
Cynthia send you something?
No, I was
Oh.
looking it up. One of the people that's going to be there is Mikey Mike on the mic,
Yeah,
comedian. His
Mhm.
name's Mike Shields.
Mike Shields.
20 year with over 20 years in comedy. So he should be really, really good.
Guys, if you're listening to this and you are available to go to the Hilltop Barn, this is a good show. I don't remember what the tickets are, but if you get them in advance, they're half price.
$25.
Yeah, $25 is like so much off if you get it in
Right.
advance or on through the online
Right.
thing. I think it's like a certain amount. I don't want to quote it wrong, but great show, great people. They're trying real hard. I think that place is freaking beautiful.
Oh, it's a great venue.
Oh, and I'm gonna have her on the show eventually. Amber Fireball Franson. Yep, that one. Man, it's gonna be okay. All right. And there's some people already interested, ready and going. What'd you do to your phone, man? You broke your phone? What's this crack?
Well, I tell the grandkids that I was blocking bullets with it, but
Right.
actually I dropped it on a rock, so it looks like a little bullet hole. But
Right. It was like the Teddy Roosevelt speech,
Right.
Right? It caught the bullet. Papa's still alive
Right.
because of it, right? When it was over and done with. That's awesome. And
but at the show, it's going to be great because we're going to have Big Blue back out there again.
put some lights on him.
We're gonna get some exterior lights on.
Working on getting some lights on him.
Yeah.
I think Cynthia said they're going to try to do some lights on the Hilltop Barn out there on the sign. They're trying. I don't know if they're going to be able to, and we'll find out if it's beforehand if they got their liquor license or if it's still BYOB.
Right.
I don't mind the BYOB, but if I got to go out to the ice chest when it's freezing cold, that's something else, man. It is cold. It was cold out.
I don't
there.
think it's going to be that cold this time.
Yeah, I don't think it could be that cold.
I don't think it could be
if
that
it
cold
did.
this
That was
time.
even when we had that big freeze, it wasn't single digit.
What was the wind?
That's
I mean,
what
just
it
that.
was.
Oh my goodness, we're the Hilltop Barn.
Right,
The wind
right.
coming over that hill.
Right.
It was just terrible.
You're out there sitting in the trailer. I'm like, call me when you need me. I'll be in the truck.
That's it. That's it. I was in the
cold.
trailer. I was inside setting up, and I was letting you bring all the stuff in.
Right. That was the best way to do it. Once we get the stairs down, I don't mind doing one or the other, but I don't want to go all the way from outside into that freaking warm trailer and then go back out there in that freezing cold and back into that warm trailer.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I'm going to catch pneumonia. I don't know if you really get sick from that, but I think I would. I
Right.
think my body would find a way.
But yeah, we'll have Big Blue out there. We'll be doing a live broadcast. We'll be interviewing all the entertainment. We'll be having a great time.
Yep. And it's going to be good. Come and see us. And then what else do we? Oh, I got one I wanted to talk to you about. There's a rodeo coming up that I'm going to look into, and I'm going to plug it probably on Wednesday. I've got in touch with the people to try to talk to them about it, but I've got a couple of rodeos. It's getting to that time of the season where they're going to be doing more of the barrel racing, the team roping, and all that stuff. And so hopefully we can get some information on some of those. If you're looking for someone to cover your rodeo, we're the people. He has the studio, I have the equipment, and we'll come out and film anything and everything, the breakaway roping, all that stuff. We can interview people.
If someone's got a live broadcast they want to do,
Anything,
just let us know.
let us know. We'll come out there and see what we can do to help you out, and we'll shoot it out on Facebook or wherever you want it sent out to on your YouTube page, kind of a deal. And yeah, that's all I got, man. I mean, I don't know what else we got.
I
We
don't
got
know.
time to kill. Hey,
Greg Durham and Chris Crawford were just awesome though at the show.
his Mickey Mouse thing.
Yeah.
You got me laughing so hard. And Greg is Greg's a good interview. I think both of them are good comedians. They're both very lively and they interact well, and they're not a lot of uhs and ums
Right.
when you're interviewing them. So you can tell they're professionals with it. But I thought when Chris started talking about how that Mickey Mouse bit,
Yeah.
I got to laughing. So I don't want to give it away for anyone, but
we heard it twice. It was
yeah,
great.
yeah, he did it. He did it.
We
for
laughed
us.
both times.
Yeah, and you know it's funny because you go in there and you're like, oh, I know this, and you know what's coming, and I still caught myself laughing out loud at it. I was like,
We
yeah.
probably confused him because we were laughing before the punchline.
Yeah, we knew it was. You know what's coming, right, when it's over and done with. Some of those guys get comedy gold. I mean, he's got kids, you know, and so the stuff that he can run by the kids that are absolutely hilarious. You know, guys with overbearing wives that they can incorporate that into their act, and they're pretty much going home going, honey, abuse me some
Right.
more so I can make people laugh more, you know. And then
You can't write this stuff.
right, you know, when you got somebody in your life, dude, my second wife was crazy, and she was afraid of heights, and she was like a OCD person that just didn't like that everything had its place. So I went and bought rakes, and I had bought 2 rakes and was raking the grass and stuff. The garden rakes, you know, not
Right.
the leaf rake, a garden rake. And a couple of days later, I couldn't find the rake, and I thought, well, maybe she gave it to her daughter or loaned it out or something. So I go get another one. I come back, and then it dawns on me with my traumatic brain injury, maybe I'm hallucinating, but I think I bought 3 or 4 rakes in the last year. So I asked her, I was like, hey, you know, where's the rakes? And she goes, oh, they're in the attic. And I'm like, how are they in the attic? You're afraid of heights. You won't even make it past the second rung in the attic. She would go 2 steps up and throw a rake up in the attic and not tell me that's where she put it. And I had a hook to hang it on. I went up there and it looked like the beaches of Normandy, like we sacrificed rakes everywhere. There was like 6 or 7 rakes up there in the attic that she was throwing. I'm like, this is comedy gold. You can't write this. You have to live this. And I brought one down and I said, I want to show you something. And I hung it on that hook. And she was like, oh, that's what those hooks are there for. Yes. One for the rake, one for the shovel, one for the.
Right.
Then I'm like having a garage sale and I got like 6 rakes for sale, you know.
$20 rakes,
Yeah,
$3.
Yeah, everyone gets it for $3. You get a rake, you get a rake, people come over to your house to have dinner with you or something. Would you like a parting rake as you go?
Right.
It's a funny story. I have a hook over here, but you know, I mean, she didn't understand that's what it was there for. But yeah, she stuck her finger in a light socket one time. She was trying to show one of the maintenance guys, hey, this right here, it's got a light stuck in, and she stuck her finger up in it, and you could see the other light was on. It was one of those carousel carriage lights or whatever outside your house. And she, right there in front of me and the other guy, she just sticks her finger in. She's in between us. She's like, why are y'all laughing? And I'm like, how can we? No one would have thought to stick their finger
you
in
did?
there. Yeah, I mean,
No,
like,
then it was funny.
It was hilarious. Yeah. Just a random thing. You know, she walked into a rake. One time we were at the property, and again, the garden rake, we were at some property, and I was throwing all the equipment out of the back of the truck, you know, shovel, rake, all this stuff. She's taking pictures of the before we start clearing. She's taking pictures of the before, and she steps on that rake, and it slapped her in the face like something off of the Looney Tunes.
I wouldn't even laugh at that. That hurts.
Okay, it's not that I wanted to laugh at it. It was her response was, you did that on purpose. I'm a comedian. If I did that on purpose, I would have had my camera ready. I was not prepared for her to do that. That would have been comedy. I'd have been a TikTok millionaire for
Right.
her, because he was very surprised whenever she did it. All right, so we got Hilltop Barn coming up on February 10th.
Yep.
I have a musical guest on Wednesday. Is God, he's going to kill me. I can't remember off the top of my head the name. We've been talking on the phone all day today, or we've been talking. Bronson Lewis. I'm sorry, Bronson. Totally forgot. I got Bronson Lewis coming on here on Wednesday. He's going to play the guitar, sing a little song
That'll
for
be
us.
great.
I think he's going to be at the Hilltop Barn soon, if not this one going around.
Great.
But musical artist, yep, it's going to be good to have something other than comedian jacket. Keith, thank you again for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Anytime, Mike. Anytime. Happy
appreciate
birthday.
Hey, thank you, man. And this is us at the JoCo Voice signing off. You guys have a good one.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, JoCo Community Radio.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because